Hello, everybody, and welcome to New Comic Book Day Book Club. Back on my channel in what has seemed like a very long time. Thank you to Alec for carrying the weight. He is here as usual, Mr. White Whale Comics, story comic core himself. How you doing, Alec?
I'm doing well, aka apparently the natural now, as dubbed by the legend. I don't know if I feel comfortable calling myself that.
Once you get a nickname from the legend, it sticks.
Yeah. I also feel weird about not doing the intro this week because I feel a little left out.
Did you feel weird about having to not like set up the chat? I mean, and organize all the thumbnail and everything?
No, that was the delight to just sit down. We're talking about Little Bird 2 tonight, right?
We're doing an entire Little Bird episode.
Hell yeah!
Not at all. We have Mr. Bear Island Comics. Adam, how you doing, man?
I think I might be in the wrong room. I thought we were talking Major X number 2 tonight.
Right. No, Naomi 4.
we're talking about what the true first appearance of Naomi is.
Heavy spec tonight, guys.
Yeah. I was off the spec train for about 48 hours. Then I dove in head first into an empty pool.
Crashed into a wall. Well, we are not reading any of the books we just talked about. This is actually Meet the Skrulls issue 1, 2, and 3 all together. It was a phenomenal idea because I was curious about this series, and Alec thought, well, you know what, let's just do all of it. He had already bought issue 1, and thankfully my comic shop still had issues 1 and 2 first prints on the shelf. So I snuck a couple of those, and then today dropped issue 3. So hopefully you guys in the chat could go out and grab some of those books to join and follow along with us. We have Mr. Wolf Warner, first one in the chat. He says one of his favorite minis right now is he calls it The Americans Meets the Vision Family, and that'll be a very big topic for us to talk about. I got issues. TJ the Slab Dragon in the chat. Of course, Alec, you've already been in there. Old Wolf, Perry Comics, Flaming Sheila, Mr. Gerald, Barbarian Kung Fu, Kachung. I haven't seen DK Comics and Cosplay, but I'm sure she's right around the corner. Comic Books NYC. Thank you all for coming in here. I know the Comic Core Unlimited is still running. The Great Legend is dropping some truth over there. So if you're watching us right now, I definitely recommend checking back in when you can over there and hear the end of what they're talking about as far as spec versus collecting. And I think there's some really interesting debates going on in there, plus all the other news and stuff we were doing earlier.
Yeah, I can drop some truth too. Did you know platypuses are venomous?
I didn't.
There you go.
It's not platypi?
I was wondering about that myself.
It could be platypi. See, I know about the state of their venomous barbs, but I don't know the plural of their name.
Do they have a miasma?
No, they are welcome to Mammal Chat with White Whale Comics. Whales are mammals, and so are platypuses. They also lay eggs, and they're also venomous. They have barbs at the base of their feet that they use to kill things in defense.
So it's not like Komodo dragons, which are just like they have such a toxic slime or slobber and a little bit of venom pouch as well. When they bite, they inject all that garbage into whatever they bite.
Komodo dragons also not mammals.
No, they're not. They're reptiles. You're having mammal chat. I'm having a different conversation.
Man,
did you know dolphins are whales?
Shut up.
Whales aren't dolphins.
They're toothed whales. Yeah, so like a sperm whale and an orca and dolphins, they're all considered whales.
I thought we were done talking about Faithless.
That changes everything.
That we're never done with that.
Because you said sperm.
I gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Cool. No, we're here to talk about this book and its follow-ups, Meet the Skrulls. Now, do you prefer Bear Island? Adam, what do you like there?
You can call me Adam.
Have you been picking this up or reading any of these, or did you just dive in with us today first time?
I've been reading it for about a week and a half, I guess, since Alec first invited me. Because, I was deathly afraid of going live and not having anything to say.
Because for me, I had not read a single page until about 5:30 or whatever, a couple hours and a half ago. But I was definitely drawn right in on this first issue and was very pleased. I was really worried that I'd have bought 3 books that I absolutely loathed but this was a very pleasant surprise. And I feel like it does pull you in right away. Alec, you'd read issue 1, yes?
Yeah, so I have a bit of umbrage to take there. I had read issue 1, and you knew that when I recommended this.
Yes.
And you just said you thought you might loathe this series.
It's a risk. It's a risk.
I felt the same way.
Thanks for your trust, gentlemen.
Hashtag Susan Speck.
Hashtag Susan Speck all day. So yeah, I mean, this is a book that I actually, when the first issue came out, almost didn't pick up because I thought, this is probably not going to be good.
Well, the timing's a little suspect, right? Because Captain Marvel, and they throw out a Skrulls book right as Captain Marvel comes out.
Right. And
you always have to wonder.
And my mind immediately went to Vision, as was mentioned
mine as well, and several people in the chat have actually mentioned it.
Before I even read it, I was like, "Oh, it's a story about a family who's trying to fit in or whatever." I'm like, "This is just going to be the same old thing. Like, why do I want to read this?" But for some reason, I picked it up and I said, "You know what? Fine, I'll give it a shot." And I'm happy that I did. It is good. In my humble opinion. What?
No Susans, though.
We don't know that.
Yet.
Retro. Susan is everywhere we want her to be, or anywhere you want her to be.
So for those that are unfamiliar, the story does center around a Skrull family hiding out and on an important mission for their nation. But this particular first issue begins kind of with I don't know if I want to call him a villain, but certainly an antagonist character who he looks like, I don't know, a Sam Spade detective from the future kind of thing going.
Yeah, kind of like a Matrix-y type of, I don't know.
I was waiting to finish that thought. Okay.
No.
And
he likes to sing.
And this guy zaps a different family of Skrulls and wipes them out, and then mentions that Project Blossom is ready to go into the next phase. But we don't really see that guy for the rest of the issue. It's mostly focusing the rest of the issue on another Skrull family, the family from our story, the Warners.
So it's interesting you should bring up calling him the villain or the antagonist because historically, Skrulls are villains. So you would typically think that he is the hero character getting rid of the bad guys. But lines have been blurred.
Yeah, I mean, I used the word, I changed it to antagonist for the very reason you're saying, right? You, as a reader, the main character that you're following along with is going to be probably the one you sympathize with most. And this is the character thwarting the plans of those characters. So they're the antagonist of our main character. How did you feel about this family when you first started getting into them, Adam? What did you think?
I wasn't sure who to latch onto right away. Probably Alice, but they each had their strengths. Like the mom, I forget the mom's name, but she's clearly kind of the leader of the group. She's kind of in charge, although her husband's from, I guess, like a higher race of Skrull or higher level Skrull. So I was a little bit confused about who is my entry point in.
So it's
initially, but
the parents are Carl and Gloria,
right?
And then the kids are the littlest one is Alice, and then the middle sister is Madison. There's two sisters, and Madison, and then Alice, and then the mom is Gloria. I got it.
Hooray!
Yay. I only read 3 issues of it.
Names, I don't know. They're hard to stick for my brain things. I identify much more with how a character looks and what their name is for some reason. But maybe that's
and obviously when they're constantly changing their appearance, it's not going to make it a whole lot easier on you.
True facts. True facts.
So, Alec, how did you feel about this family as they first start to appear to us in the story? Because we get Alice, like Adam was saying, we get Alice first and a little bit of her school friendship life, and then it's straight to the dinner table with this family of 4.
Right, and then the dinner table is kind of like a debriefing of the day. It's very business oriented, and now correct me if I'm wrong. They are actually a family. Like the parents had these children, correct?
I believe so. It seems like kind of an arranged marriage, though, for strategic purposes.
Absolutely right. That's what I was going to say. So, I mean, especially in the subsequent issues, the 2 parents clearly seem in love. But yes, it is a militaristic, created family. Whether or not
the hopes that their kids would be like super soldiers or something.
Right.
Which we all hope for, right?
So yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what Kate and Charlie do in the backyard. You got little ropes courses and stuff.
Yeah, it's all like hoops of fire. So yeah, this family definitely has a militaristic side. They're clearly on a job, as it were, and I do get the feeling that they are legitimately the progeny of these 2 adult Skrulls, but they don't explicitly say it. And there is a lot of sort of hinting at the 3rd sibling that's not really in the picture all that much, except literally in photographs.
I know her name.
What is it?
It's Ivy. It's Ivy.
Susan.
All right.
Yeah, and the 2 daughters are the kind of polar opposites, right? Like you have the older daughter who's very much in line with the mission and very much in line with the credo of the Skrull. And then the younger daughter who's very much more like questioning what they're doing and questioning, I don't know, if humanity is closer to them than they think, or
she seems most likely to go rogue or lead them going rogue, which I hope happens. But I think Ivy was actually the one who was sort of their leader among the sisters initially. That's the impression I got from this past issue. She was the one who sort of pushed them and instilled confidence in them. Before her unfortunate.
Yeah, as far as the later issues, we finally get a glimpse into Ivy's perspective, at least how she fits into all this. But yeah, you've got the 2 sisters. Madison seems to really toe the line and really wants to be perfect sister. And even her friends in later issues call her perfect, right? And she's so good at being human and Skrull and living in both of those personas. Whereas Sister Alice seems to be almost a failure in both.
Sister Alice, or are they Mormons now?
Oh, man. How did I know that was going to come back?
I don't know. As soon as it came out of your mouth, you were like, oh, I regret saying that.
Yeah. So Project Blossom is something that comes in and out all the way through. Adam, do you want to explain your understanding of how Project Blossom works?
Yeah, Project Blossom is basically the high stakes that they're up against, which is Stark Industries, I guess, is developing this thing that will allow Skrulls to always be seen as Skrulls, which would be the jig is up. They won't be able to do what they want to do or hide, which that's a sympathetic thing for them to be hiding. But on the other hand, their goal is also to sort of take over, subjugate,
infiltrate. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of nuance, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and we do get a glimpse of that technology where when the 2 guards come in and use the scopes to kind of like see that they're Skrulls and not Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, who they disguise themselves as.
Yeah, and I bet they wish they didn't have that technology after what happens.
Yeah, they got straight
murder.
Yeah.
Yep. They gone.
They gone for sure.
Gone too soon.
Gone too soon.
Oh.
So yeah, you have the parents who both have jobs trying to get closer to both the political and scientific sides of this technology. And then you have the kids at schools trying to ingratiate themselves with friends whose parents might potentially be contacts for this this Project Blossom as well. So it all seems focused around this espionage element where Madison is happy to be that foot soldier and Alice is feeling very conflicted about it. And then, yeah, they end up having a heist sequence where they're breaking into Stark Technologies. And
while Madison is trying to steal some sort of documents or blueprints or something from her friend's father's safe. So those two things are happening simultaneously.
And pizza is the key to that, apparently.
Pizza is the key to everything. Yeah. Let's be real.
Yeah, so you have several operations happening simultaneously, and routinely you have Alice misusing her powers, which is potentially the threat of drawing the attention from that antagonist character, which I don't know that I even know his name in any way.
Moloth or something, or
no, that's the handler, right?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, right, Agent Echo Lima, which is
right.
The letters EL. That antagonist detective-looking character is named is Agent Echo Lima.
We got a lot of pizza emojis going on in the chat right now.
Issues is very salty about our pick this week, but he seems to be salty about our pick most weeks.
Yeah. Well, he said the third week in a row. But he also said he didn't even read this, so.
Hashtag lazy fan.
Hashtag don't throw stones in a glass comic book store.
I've heard that one before, for sure.
Yeah, that's a saying.
Yeah.
So, Alec, what made you had read issue 1, issue 3 was coming out. What made you want to use this for the book club? What was it that was motivating you? Because clearly you saw something in it right away.
Yeah, I just he said, well, I didn't read 1 or 2, so he just jumped straight to 3. It was just like you said, it kind of grabbed you from the beginning. It was like not really what I expected, I guess, and that kind of excited me. And it was just like a fun read. It didn't I didn't really hear anyone talking about it or anything, but it was. I don't know. It was just like a decent, good comic. And I feel like so many of the books that we read, especially on this show, we get to the end, we're like, this was kind of a turd. And like half the books that we've read, I probably would have not finished reading them if we didn't have to talk about them on the show. But this, I was kind of like disappointed when I got to the last page because I was like, oh man, I want some more of this.
Just to build on that, I really felt like this felt like a comic book to me. I think writers can sometimes forget that they're writing a comic book. This never felt like it was wasting my time. It felt like it was moving along even when it was explaining things, which is tough to do. And it's probably because the writer, Robbie Thompson, is from Detroit. So.
Oh. Coincidence? I will also say it was I complain a lot about pacing, and like it was paced well. Like it didn't feel rushed, but it didn't feel slow. Like it was the first issue was a good amount of information. It introduced you to the family, it set up the situation, but it didn't like throw too much at you, but it didn't also kind of rush into the situation where like a lot of books I feel like nowadays would have had the end of issue 3 being the end of issue 1, rather than the end of issue 1 being the very quiet kind of scene with the guy and the butterflies and everything. And
yeah, I mean, for me, like almost half of this first issue feels like the dinner table sequence because they jump away to what they're talking about to give you a glimpse of the context for their discussion at the dinner table. And I found that sequence riveting. I felt like it wasn't overly expository, like we're sometimes complaining. I felt like I got real glimpses into the personalities of the 4 characters sitting there and what their interests were in this mission that they're on. And also, I think I got a really good, interesting sort of look at the family dynamic as a whole. And I found that whole sequence at the dinner table to be phenomenal. And it was really just bookended by this villain, Echo Lima. And I was fine with that design. I thought it worked really well as setup. And it wasn't about like a plot. It was really about this family.
Oh, Barbarian Kung Fu, you should know by now we spoil everything.
How can we spoil it? We haven't really talked about much except that they're a family on a mission.
And I was also very pleasantly surprised that it didn't start with a flash forward.
Give you a glimpse of where it's going.
That is a pet peeve of mine. I feel like I've seen this before, but I still really liked this scene.
Is it because it's 9 panels all arranged in squares next to each other?
Maybe, but it represents her character very well because she's clearly struggling with what her identity is, and this like could not be more directly representing that based on what a Skrull is, right? She is literally flipping through different looks.
Parts of herself, right? Her personality almost.
Yeah, sure.
Or that page confused me a little bit. What's the pill that she's taking there?
That is a question that I don't have an answer to, but it either makes her very mad or I don't know, because she turns red after taking it.
Yeah, I thought that scene was really interesting because, of course, she has a job to do that she doesn't want to do. So she's choosing how to best execute that job. And then when she shows up to do her assignment, she misuses her powers again and sort of achieves the goal that they had for her. But because of the way she does it, she draws more attention from this antagonist.
I watched you read that comment
and then allow it.
I think you kind of smirked. That was very funny.
No, Barbarian, you're welcome.
I also really quickly want to point out I'm not much of a car nerd, but I do like the cars that I like, and there is a Ford Focus RS right there, which is a car that I would love to own.
Pause for a second while Alec tells us about cars.
Welcome to Car Talk. That name's already taken. Crap. Welcome to...
There are several sequences in eating in all 3 issues. The second one, you get the dinner with the husband and wife, which I think is hysterical, out at the restaurant. And then you also have the beginning of that pizza sequence, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about dinner between the husband and wife, Adam?
I thought that was hilarious because she was stuck in that form that she didn't want to be in because the timer had gone off on how long she had to change secretly. There's just all these cool little things that they throw in, like little rules that they have to follow. And I also I enjoy the names that they come up with for their dates and stuff, or any meeting they have, really. I thought the Uncle Billy thing was really funny when he was meeting with when Carl was meeting with the elder guy in a different eating scene. Did I lose you guys?
Nope.
No, we're here. We're here. Yeah, I mean, the bit when he holds her, when she holds his hand, but she's still in the form of this agent that she came in contact with, was really funny because, like, you'd imagine if anybody knew him at the restaurant, they'd be like, wait, he's having dinner with a strange man who's holding his hand. Yeah. Like, that would definitely raise some concerns. And then he was at the bar earlier with his handler as a beautiful redhead woman.
A sexy mama.
So he's interacting with all these people in very familiar ways. Hopefully he doesn't run into anybody that recognizes him.
But they also have their super cool phone thing that they press, and apparently no one can hear them or see them.
I'm curious what that literally does, because it can't block people seeing them completely, because otherwise they would try to sit people at that table, right?
Right. It must be some sort of audio dampener.
I'm curious about that because they don't get into that technology, but it's used a few times through this first 3 issues.
Yeah. But I mean, if they sat there and explained it, you know how I would feel about that.
Truly.
Like we get the point. We understand what the purpose is. And I think it's handled in a way that's, done well, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to turn this on. So now you know that we're safe to talk.
Yeah, I'd rather underplay it than overplay it. But I at the same time, I almost want to see somebody look over at their table just to get an idea of what it looks like to them.
If you want to learn about tech, go to the Sharper Image.
So.
I still have that?
No.
It's next to Circuit City.
Right next to Radio Shack. Oh, Radio Shack is still circling the grain, isn't it?
There are a few around, yeah. Or else you're going to get a headphone splitter.
I also like that dinner sequence because there's that moment when she says, I'm stuck in this hideous form from dinner. And he says, I can always see you, Gloria, no matter what form you take. I thought that was kind of cool to imagine. It made me imagine for a second being a Skrull and seeing another Skrull and maybe being able to recognize them no matter their form, which I'd never even contemplated before.
Right. There must be something about like the way maybe they carry themselves or something in their eyes or, whatever the case may be, where like when you are a shape-shifting race, there must be something that you recognize in beyond what your quote form is, right?
Yeah. Which I, again, all these years of reading comics with Skrulls in them, and I've never contemplated that idea because there's never been a moment when a Skrull didn't know that another Skrull was a Skrull, right? So clearly that was just innate in their design, but they've never really laid it out like that. I've never seen it kind of explained in that simple form.
Who's Nate?
Perhaps they have a certain miasma that only they can detect.
Good word.
Stole it from you.
So does anybody want to talk a little bit about Madison? Because she really goes through the ringer, I would say, over these 3 issues, from the perfect soldier to what we kind of see at the end. The oldest sister kind of goes through a kind of cool evolution. In my opinion, she became a character that in a Sansa Stark kind of way, went from a character that was easy to dislike,
spoilers,
to a character that was kind of interesting. I don't know that that's a spoiler in any way. But I do feel that there's a Sansa Arya thing with these sisters, as far as one that doesn't play by the rules and gets a lot of people frustrated with her, and one that tries to be perfect and can be frustrating to the audience, therefore.
Mm.
Yeah, she definitely got shook when she had the flashback to Ivy there.
Yeah, and she even calls her, when she's disguising herself as her friend's dad, she calls her friend Ivy.
Which I want to say is the first time in the chronology where we are in the present where a character brings the name up, because we've seen the flashback,
right? Because they're all the flashbacks
in the present.
I think you might be right, and it's an interesting moment where that's right after her friend called her perfect too, and
yes.
Clearly she has some PTSD or, lingering, whatever, that she has about losing her sister in some horrific way.
She might be worried about meeting the same fate eventually.
Maybe. If she thinks like, if Ivy couldn't make it, what chance do I have because she was the best one of us?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Ivy. Adam, do you want to talk a little bit about Ivy and maybe kind of fill us in a little bit on, because we get in issue 3, I think, a fairly good idea of what went on with Ivy.
Yeah, I know they were on a very important mission in which Ivy got separated or sort of took the lead and went on ahead of mom and dad. And
very confidently.
Yeah, because that just seems like it was her nature. And, dad's watching through these high-tech binoculars Mom's asking, where's Ivy? How's she doing? And Dad just watches her get blown up. And he keeps flashing back to the moment where the two of them were separated, where she went down this like manhole type thing, and says, "Be right back, Daddy." And that's like the line that keeps popping into his head.
Yeah,
it's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure haven't seen the last of that situation from the different characters' perspectives too. And I'm sure it is going to be a big part of the rest of the story. I'm guessing. Maybe.
I think it would have to be. You know, I think it's gonna clearly be the thing that creates ripples in their characters and is kind of forcing what's happening here in the present for them.
Can we talk about an ad for one quick second?
We're talking about cars. Let's go.
That's a bold choice, Marvel.
Oh yeah.
Gone too soon.
It's like their answer to those. Remember those Bendis ads from when Bendis was going to DC?
Like I love.
Yeah.
We got Hickman, who is probably a better writer than Bendis, but not as famous.
Well, it also seemed to me almost like the kind of banners they had when Stan Lee passed. It was like, something happened to Hickman
in memoriam,
right?
I'm surprised it doesn't even say the title. It's just like Hickman is coming. It's like a wrestling promo.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. That's just gonna be the cover of the book. Hickman
writing Squirrel Girl now.
You're gonna buy it, you suckers.
The whole Squirrel verse is his now, right?
Take it Squirrel Girl in directions you never thought she'd go. Can only go up from where she is. So issue 3.
Issue 3 has the heist, the main part of the break-in into Stark and the dad flashing back and forth between what happened to Ivy and what's going on in the present with he and Gloria, his wife. You've also got Madison trying to complete her mission despite a lot of obstacles. And then you've got Alice being attacked at home by the villain, Agent Echo Lima.
Right. And the father is warned about this by his handler. He said, "We found this guy who's been killing Skrulls. This is what he looks like. And we think he's after Alice now."
But Mom doesn't know, right?
The mom doesn't know. And he clearly is avoiding telling her because he keeps saying stuff like, "Oh, don't worry. Alice is at home. She's safe," and stuff like that. So I don't know if he's also trying to reassure himself at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like that's him. That's something he does. He's an emotional guy. He at the dinner table in that first issue, he was like banging the table and just getting super emotional and stuff. And I think that's kind of one of his traits.
Yeah, and I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, is this a 5-issue run? Somebody at my shop said it was 5 issues.
Oh, there's not a of number on the front of these covers, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't. At the back, it just tells us about issue 4.
5 issues is very popular nowadays. It used to be 6, but I guess they decided that they could print trades with 5 issues and charge the same amount of money, and so why not do 5 issues?
Yeah, because
it's confirmed that it's 5 issues.
Okay. I felt like there's a lot of story left. And if this issue it reminded me a lot of the issue from Vision where Mom has to kill, the Reaper when he attacks the house. And Mom has to kill him. Spoiler alert.
Because now issue 1.
Is that the end of issue 1 where he shows up? But then is it in issue 2 where she's putting him under the rug or whatever in the cover?
Yeah, it's very early on in the series.
And this feels like now we're at issue 3 having a similar moment with Alice having to face down against Echo Lima and most of it happening off screen. We're not really given all the action.
And because, spoilers, big reveal.
Seems like it went well.
For somebody.
Oh.
So yes, they rush home, or they don't rush home. They get home and see that the door is disturbed, and rush inside because the father immediately knows what's going on because of the intel he received. And it is.
I already beat you to it, dude. I'm right here.
Right.
I got
Well, you really beat me to it. I was going to lead up to it, but okay.
She pulled an Arya, right?
She pulled an Arya and she straight murked the guy.
She put the candle out.
But then he's on the cover of the next issue. So is he dead?
Well, I don't know that he's dead. He still has electricity, jolting out of his hand. If that's his superpower, then maybe he's still
just a little
ticking there a little bit.
But yeah, so it is set up for you to believe that he has gotten the best of Alice, and she has gotten the best of him, and more so than how cool that is the line she delivers. Because earlier in the issue, the father questions her dedication to the cause and says, "Sometimes I wonder if you're even a Skrull." And then it ends with her saying, "Am I a Skrull now?"
And remember, this is the girl who was so afraid of even a verbal confrontation with her friends that she turned into a butterfly. But she took this guy down.
Well, when you question, when your father questions your very being, maybe that is the motivation she needed. I don't know. Or, when someone's shooting electricity at your face, it's a little more dire than someone throwing some verbal barbs at you.
Yeah, I mean, Dad is pretty awful. I will say it's really hard to watch the way he deals with his kids, because it's pretty brutal. Obviously, he's dad and he's boss in some ways as well, and he has very little ability to deal with Alice in any positives kind of way. So it's surprising that she manages so well in this moment and clearly is, resourceful beyond her parents' expectations.
Yeah, I mean, she still must be trained, right?
Oh, yeah, I would hope.
The dad's been holding her to an impossible standard, though, because it's his mom. He has that flashback to his mother sacrificing herself to allow him to escape their home planet. And then he starts criticizing Ivy for Alice for not being like her grandmother.
Yeah. And clearly, yeah. It's a great point. The grandmother also says something about how, he's like, as a kid, as the planet's being destroyed, he says something about how we can't let the planet be destroyed. And she's like, no, the dream is that every planet will be our planet.
Yeah.
Which is messed up.
What is it? Throne World?
Yeah.
Which I don't know that I'd heard that term before, but maybe I just haven't read closely enough other Skrull storylines.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Skrulls.
Yeah, I came in with no Skrull knowledge at all.
I'm currently meeting them. Oh, that one gets a thumbs up?
With like a face?
Are you sure?
I read Secret Invasion. I will say that's probably the largest Skrull storyline I've read, and there's not a lot of mention of their home world in that storyline.
Cool name, though, right?
I also, the other Throne World. Oh yeah. The other thing I really liked about this so far is that besides kind of the references or involvement in Stark Industries, this really could be a standalone universe book. Like, it doesn't necessarily take place in the Marvel universe. Like, there aren't a bunch of heroes. Like, you don't see Captain Marvel, you don't see Iron Man or Thor. Like, it's just about this family.
You see Iron Man, though. He drops in on the dad who's at work, and you also see
that one
Galactus thing was cool.
The Galactus thing was cool. Yeah, Galactus.
Oh, the Galactus. Yeah, that was a cool. When they're talking about Throne World and how it was destroyed, Galactus makes a great little background. Good call.
Galactus.
I love that you could easily miss Galactus though if you're not paying attention. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. It wasn't like a giant battle versus Galactus for 4 pages.
But what I did, to Alec's point, I think it's kind of cool that it almost feels like you're not worried about how it ties into the bigger Marvel universe. You're not worried about, isn't War of the Realms happening right now? Why where is this character? Why is he? It's none of that. It's these characters. This moment is kind of the point.
Yeah, right. That is more my point. Is that I guess you, as a novice comic fan, you could pick this up without any knowledge of the Marvel Universe and read it and not be thrown off.
And it's nice because that gives the characters room to breathe because they're not throwing a million characters in. You really get to know the characters that you're introduced to right at the beginning.
Right. And there's no like asterisks in issue such and such of Thor, War of Realms, Punisher, the miniseries of this. It's like, it's just a story. It's like, felt more almost like an Image book than a Marvel book to me.
So this is that 2-page panel that we were just talking about as far as the destruction of Throne World. It starts with the before, and you get to see little Carl is the little guy there, and then this is the panel with Galactus here at the top, doing his planet eating thing.
No.
Lish.
And that's issue 2 right near the beginning.
It's no pizza, but I bet planets taste pretty good.
Again, there's a whole eating thing that seems to happen for me in these 3 issues.
Are you just hungry?
I don't think so. But I'm saying I do like it because there's this whole idea of the family that eats together, stays together. That you spend time at the dinner table. It matters.
The Norman Rockwell ideal of.
And so this has that sort of. I mean, it starts with them at the dining table at the the very beginning-ish of the first issue, and then it sort of follows through the family and the food connection. I think it's kind of cool.
It's like they all eat the same stuff as us. I like that everything in their house is square. Like the architecture in their house is square. The plates are square on the dinner table.
I didn't notice that.
What's that about? Huh?
Circles are for humans.
Oh, did you guys also notice the label on the wine bottle?
No.
Nice little tribute, Excelsior wine.
No. I missed that. Comic Books NYC says, man, still talking about this book. Well, it is 3 books, so it's taking us a little bit longer. But I think we're just about done. I mean, unless you guys have a lot more to say that I don't know about.
No, I mean, I'm ready to pull it, put it on the pull list or not, if you guys are interested. So, Alec, I'm fairly certain you are going to check in on issues 4 and 5.
Yeah, I mean, I've already bought 3 of them. Might as well. Like, I'm not gonna if I want to finish the story at this point, I'm not going to buy a trade when I can buy 2 more issues and just finish out the run. So,
all right,
it's a buy.
Adam, what about you?
Yeah, same here. I think it's done enough on its own merits. I mean, yes, there's only 2 more issues, and why not? But also, it's good. And
yeah, I think even if it were 12 issues, I'd still probably pick up the rest of it unless it really took a dive.
Plus, we still got Homecoming coming up, right?
Oh yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm always bummed when it's like, oh, another really good book because now I got to add it to my pull list, and it's like you're always trying to control the pull list. But I'll definitely grab the next 2 issues of this to see how it all kind of finishes out because I did really, really enjoy that. We had 2 debate topics that we had bandied around. It looks like Comic Books NYC is already ready for debate topics. We started with, what is the best comic book family, in your opinion? The best comic book family. Now, I know if the Great Legend was in here, we'd hear definitely about the FF. But was there anyone that you wanted to start with, either one of you? Silence. So I will go first then. I thought about a couple options. I went with Snow White and Bigby Wolf and their little pack of pups from Fables.
I knew you would.
But that I loved the evolution of that family from mom and dad not even liking each other to awkward romance to birth of a litter of little pup people to their evolution of their powers and personalities. I really did enjoy that family over that run on Fable. So that would be my favorite comic book family.
I get what she says. The Inhumans, duh. It's
okay. Wait, he loves the Inhumans, but he doesn't like our picks the last 3 weeks. I think that there's some hypocrisy there.
I don't understand the logic there. Comic books, I see you just beat me to the punch.
Really? That's your favorite? Go.
The Ninja Turtles, man. Is there more of a family besides like the Fast and the Furious bunch in media?
That's a good call.
Like they got each other's backs no matter what, except when Raphael gets annoyed in the movie and gets his butt handed to him. But then they put him in the tub and they watch by him and they are sad. I don't know. It's just like I like families in comics that are brought together rather than like the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles aren't related that we know of. I guess they could be.
I mean, they were all in the same tank. You know, who knows, right?
Well, I don't think they have to be related, right? I mean, there's no rules here.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Family is what you make it, and I think the families that are made can sometimes be more tighter knit, like the Fast and the Furious gang. The family.
You've talked more about cars tonight than I think ever.
Too fast, too furious.
What happened to you today?
I don't know, a lot.
All right, well, I'm going to cheat with mine. Non-relation, and it's also going to look like I'm ripping off Comic Books NYC from the chat here, but I'm totally going with Alfred Pennyworth. He is every family member Bruce Wayne needs. He plays all the roles. People who don't like Batman always complain about the whole how conveniently everything gets solved and he never loses, and because Batman, but screw that, because Batman and Alfred. That's my favorite family.
Well, and that extended family, if you start counting the various Robins and Batgirls, it's that, you know, that support system is what makes Batman work as he gets older and I don't know, as the character evolves a little bit. I think the Batman from year one versus the Batman that we see in comics right now, I think you see a nice evolution where he does need the Nightwings and Damian Waynes of that universe. It's a great pick.
I got issues. Are you serious? Is Major X really a Summers's? Because I don't know anything about Major X, but that is disappointing.
I think it's supposed to be Cable's son.
I told you guys we should be talking about Major X #2.
That, like, I know everyone's on the I hate Liefeld bandwagon, but that is the ugliest cover I've seen in a very long time.
That is not how a torso looks.
That is not how anything looks. I don't know. And just like the poses where Major X is just like, oh God, just grim.
Some people mentioned the X-Men, and I did consider that sort of Xavier as the father figure, especially to that first generation X-Men team.
For sure.
That was a great pick. I did consider it.
Another adopted type family of people who are brought together and become a family.
Yeah,
like Fast and the Furious. It gets funnier every time.
It's working.
Does it? So, I was surprised, Alec. I thought for sure the Vision comic would be, but maybe we've just mentioned it too much to need to bring it up again.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that.
Or even the Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and their little baby.
Yeah, I think both of those are natural picks for me. I was trying to think outside of my box.
Nice.
Try to not be like Jubilee. drink.
The other topic that we thought would be kind of funny, or at least that made me giggle, was what is the one thing you would have to do if you wanted to appear to be human? What would the one attribute or what would the one activity that you would need to do if you were going to appear to be human?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I was going to say tuck in your shirt, like at work.
Oh man,
I like what Madison said though in one of these issues of Meet the Skrulls. She says you have to be mean back. Humans like that, don't you get it?
Yeah.
I think we have a very salty panda in the chat tonight. He is definitely on fire, man. Xavier's the worst father in comics.
Yeah,
Human
man.
radio device.
Hashtag Magneto is right.
Oh man, I would say the number one thing that a Skrull would need to do to appear to be human is to pretend to listen to people.
What was that?
Nailed it.
I mean, yeah, that's what this whole show is basically. So maybe I'm doing a better job at it than I thought.
1,400 followers, can't be wrong.
Between us?
That's between us, yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely not mine.
I was gonna say, wow, congratulations.
No way. You're gonna get to 1,000 and then it's like, hey, where's John?
I got a new follower today.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, John's Comics with Kids.
I was like, how the hell am I not following this guy right now?
Playing hard to get.
Oh,
everyone follow this guy. He is producing some funny videos.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
Bear,
You're
Allen,
talking about me, right?
anything that you've either
I was talking about John, but you too.
Definitely not me.
No, I was talking about you.
Do you have anything coming up on your channel soon, or that you just dropped recently that people can look out for if they're cruising through your channel?
I dropped one on Wednesday. No, not Wednesday. Yesterday. It was episode 3, and we take a deep dive into a comic book from way back in 1950 called "I Love You," and there's some pretty entertaining stuff in there.
Good stuff for sure.
Some weird stuff for 1950.
Weird stuff for today. Put Faithless to shame.
Yeah, that's true. And coming up, I think I'm going to do in a recent mystery box, one of those Spider-Man boxes. I got some random Tales of the Teen Titans comic from 1985, and I opened it up and I could not believe what I saw in there. There's some funky stuff. I think I'm going to do one episode just on that. And
Was that in the Wolfman run, or is it later?
I think it is. I might have it right over here.
That was a good teaser for your upcoming.
This one right here.
What issue was that? I can't see the corner there.
That is number 59. There's no relevance whatsoever. It's supposed to be an origin story of sort of how Robin got involved with them.
I bet that's probably in the Marv Wolfman run, and that's pretty early.
Yeah, there's a Speedy appearance.
Ever.
There's a Speedy appearance. You know, the heroin addict from that Neil Adams cover. He shows up and goes up against the drug cartel, and it'll blow your mind. I couldn't believe what I was reading.
I'm slowly buying the trades for that new Teen Titans run. I mentioned that Marv Wolfman lives near my LCS and occasionally drops in and just signs all the trades that are on the shelf. And I popped in and I bought the one that's the Deathstroke and Nightwing, some of those early appearances for the first Nightwing. And he had signed it. And I was like, that's so cool. So I'm trying to get all those trades and just read all the way up because I hear just great things about that run.
Yeah, they're all very entertaining. But it got a little weird in this one. So that's why I'm trying to keep it funny because there's a lot of, content creators out there who are providing good information. And I feel like that's sort of being done. So I'm trying to find just quirky, funny stuff to present.
Yeah, I try to be funny because I'm an idiot and I don't know anything. So except for who drew covers.
I got issues. The second topic we were joking about was what you have to do to appear to be human. And Old Wolf threw out pass, gas, fair point.
Definitely fair point.
Alec just recently did the first episode of Story Comic Core on the Comic Core channel, and they were talking about the very first issues of Why the Last Man, which is an amazingly great read, and I'm super pumped that he chose that for their episode. But you can go to the Comic Core channel and find that. But Alec, do you have other stuff coming up that you wanted to talk about? Good. That sounds great. I'm so...
So the charity auction was amazing. I watched that whole thing.
Oh, thank you.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, as you can see behind me, I'm still a bit of a mess. Everything should be shipped out by tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and your generosity and your participation. I don't know if this is everywhere, but Monday is a state holiday in Massachusetts because of the marathon. So
really? No,
I was going to try to get. I forgot about that. I was going to try to get some stuff out on Monday. But yep, they were not open. So I'm boxing up the rest hopefully tonight, and I'll have first thing tomorrow morning. But yeah, incredible turnout. Thank you so much to Chris and everyone who donated books and everyone who bid. Thank you for the shout out as well. Yeah, I don't think I have anything going on until next Monday for Story Comic Core.
And you guys are you just doing the first trade of Why the Last Man? Or are you going to try?
We're doing all 60 issues, baby.
Wow.
And then we're going on to all 5 trades or whatever of Age of Apocalypse.
Man, that's some serious legwork there.
Hey man, I want to read comics again.
It's a great run. I absolutely agree. It's totally worth your time and easier than trying to do all of Fables, which might take you a lot longer.
150 issues?
Yeah, something like that. And that's not counting all the crossover garbage. That I didn't care for the Jack storyline stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have hardly anything going on my channel. I'm trying to piece together a WonderCon video showcasing some of the stuff that the girls and I got into at WonderCon and some of the books that we snagged and experiences we had. But that's pretty much all I'm doing. Saturday morning, we have Saturday morning comics as usual. And that's pretty much it for me. We're trying to put together the list, and that show should be coming soon. But if you follow on Instagram, we'll definitely drop you a line when that show starts coming around. Next week, Alec, you want to break down what we're looking at next week?
Yeah, so I've got this kind of parlays into another question I have about getting stuff signed. So this is Descender Volume 1 Deluxe Edition. It's a big, thick hardcover. I'd like to get it signed by Jeff Lemire at Baltimore. But do I really want to bring this on a plane? I don't know. So just curious, like what other people do as far as getting trades or hardcovers signed at cons if they have to travel for them.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's a long way to go, maybe with something that heavy.
Yeah, but if you put that book in front of him, he's going to light up. He's going to love seeing that.
Is that omnibus style?
It's pretty.
Yeah,
it's about half the series. So I'm twisting John's arm into reading the first issue of Ascender, which is the sequel to this, and but he has never read Descender, so hopefully it is going to be somewhat standalone, or else he's going to be quite lost.
Sorry, you know me and Lost.
Oh.
So you'll be happy either way. But you have a week to read, I don't know, whatever it is, 30 issues.
Yeah, that's not likely, but we'll see how we do. And we're going to have, on Alec's channel, we're going to be doing this. We're going to have Comic Books NYC going to join us, and hopefully Bake the Snake as well, if he can make sure that he gets a copy of the book in time. He ordered his, and if it arrives on time, he will be joining us as well.
And I assume, when we were talking about who our guest would be, I would assume either or both of those gentlemen have read Descender? Or am I going to be the only one?
No, they have both read smatterings of Descender. I don't think either one finished Descender, but they definitely have a touchstone there.
So maybe you should not read it at all and come in blind and see what your opinion is versus mine.
So that we have everybody on that spectrum there.
Yeah.
Read a little, read all, or goofball.
The great rainbow of Descender knowledge.
Yeah. Kavi's saying it's good to be back on. It's a small group. We've only ever had, I think, 3 or 4 people ever come back. I think that's probably they don't want to, but I'm okay with that.
I'm surprised you want to come back on every week, John.
I was gone for a little while.
Well, I mean, you
sure
are still here. I'm not sure. He just has made a commitment.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on, man. You were awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to have to not only grab 1 book, but to grab 3 with us. That's a little bigger commitment than most have to make.
I was honored, guys. It was a lot of fun and not quite as scary as I thought it would be.
Well, the obviously we do a lot of prep. We do a lot of activities to lead into this, so I know that you were probably exhausted from all that we were putting you through.
It's a well-oiled machine.
Comic Books NYC, yes, we are reading Ascender next week.
John's DM on IG said Ascender. Yes.
Yeah. He said Ascender or Descender. I was just saying that.
Most people, have you read Descender? Because we are thinking of reading Ascender. So
cool.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Next week.
A minute.
What's that?
That's my theme song. I'm not really gonna play it. I was just trying to throw you off your game, and I did.
Wow, next week we're on Alec's channel. You can check us out there next week, and we will be reading Ascender issue 1. So hopefully you can grab a copy and join us, or pull an I Got Issues and join us anyways. We're always glad to have you.
I bet I Got Issues is going to read that one.
I don't know. He hasn't said a single thing since we announced the title. Usually he tells us yay or nay quite quickly.
Messing with you.
I'm sure I got 3 DMs off on my Instagram.
Leaving it.
So thank you everybody for coming. I hope you have a great night, and we will see you back in 1 week.
Bye.